The other major way that we can select just a part of a shot for a secondary correction is just by selecting a specific color. There are a bunch of different ways to do that, but the cleanest and I think best way is with the color curves. So let's go to shot 7 just because we have a lot of a really strong color here. And in the middle palette here, if we go back to our curves, this one that pops up is called the custom curves. But if we look right here at these little icons, this switches out the type of curve that we can use. And there are several to choose from: hue versus hue, hue versus saturation, hue versus luminance, luminance versus saturation, saturation versus saturation, and saturation versus luminance. The first thing is how you select the color, and the second thing is what you do to it. So hue versus saturation will let you select things by hue and adjust their saturation. So if we want to select this blue fur, we can click and drag here in the viewer with our eyedropper, and this will add a point on our curve, which surprisingly is right here where this little spike is that shows us how much of each color exists in the shot. So left and right is the hue, and up and down will be the saturation. So if I want to make this blue really saturated, I can take this point and punch it way up, and it's already pretty darn saturated, so it's hard to even tell. But if we take it down, we'll really start to notice we can just about make him black and white. In fact, if I take these little bits here, and the more that we play with this curve, the more we can kind of dial in that adjustment. Now we still have some outliers here, but you get the general idea. You can select something by its color and do certain adjustments based on that. Now we didn't have to draw any kind of window or trace him out or anything like that. It's just selecting the colors in the image that match that hue and desaturating them. We can do similar things with hue versus luminance. If I click on this, I can darken things that are that color. Hue versus hue, I can actually shift the color. So if I find that he's the wrong color blue, I can kind of push that, make him more of a royal blue, something like that. A lot of really great tools here. Now, we were talking about in shot 4, how we have this kind of bright kind of yellowish green highlight that we don't like. We can add a new node and select just that color with the hue versus hue. And we can take a little bit of green out of it just by pushing it up. We can even do this hue versus saturation and maybe desaturate it a little bit and really take care of that ugly green highlight. So here's before and here's after. And we didn't really have to do a whole lot. It just selects that specific color and changes it very gently. So that's a great way to take care of the little problematic things in various shots. And what's really cool is you can combine these kind of curves as well with the windows so that you have a whole lot of control over what you're doing. So we can make a new node here, and I can select my backpack. Let's just grab all of this red, and I can desaturate it, right? But we'll see that that's desaturating his shirt too, if we turn this off and on. And I like what it's doing to the backpack, but I don't like what it's doing to his shirt. So I can take a window to just affect his backpack and not his shirt. So now, even though we're just selecting stuff by color, we're also kind of limiting where it selects that color with the window. Great combination of tools.